You guys know over the summer, we covered the negotiation tactics between the NBA's new media rights deal. And now, of course, starting next season, the NBA will be airing on ESPN/ABC, on NBC/Peacock, and on Amazon Prime. And of course, the biggest loser in that deal was Warner Brothers Discovery, Warner Brothers Media, aka TNT, as they will no longer host the NBA next season. There was a lot of speculation on what that could mean for the NBA's most popular studio show, and arguably the most popular studio show in all of sports inside the NBA. And of course, there was speculation, could NBC or Amazon Prime pick it up? Reportedly, it is actually going to go to ESPN in a simulcast, where actually TNT may be airing it some nights during the week, even though obviously TNT doesn't have the games anymore. And then during the playoffs, during the NBA Finals, it could be, or big games such as Christmas Day, etc. It could be on ESPN/ABC. There is good news and there is bad news to it. Obviously, I think depending on the side of the equation you're on. I had said going into it that, to be honest with you, and there's a reason why, again, I don't talk a ton of NBA, though I will have a topic for you on Thursday when it comes to the NBA. I didn't even think with all the NFL and college football and everything going on, to be honest with you, that a Klay Thompson return game in the NBA Cup in season tournament game in November really warranted a huge topic for me. I don't really get into the NBA per se as much until Christmas Day, and then obviously after the NFL season, and then when we get into the playoffs, I'm full speed at any NBA. It's not that I'm not a bandwagon NBA fan. I do watch regular season basketball, but the difference between regular season NBA and playoff NBA is 120%. So, even during the regular season, the big national game on TNT anymore, again, unless it's my hometown Cleveland Cavaliers that are drawn into it, like it will be tonight when they take on the Boston Celtics. I'm not really watching a ton of Shaq, Kenny, Charles, Ernie. If I do see something, it's mostly what Barkley or Shaq would say on social media. But I know a lot of NBA fans are obviously drawn to this show. The fact that it's going on ESPN to me is really interesting. There's two factors here that Awful Announcing did an article on a couple days ago about, and I agree with them on both facets of it. Number one is going to be we know, and as I like to call them, the four-letter network or the Disney network or whatever you want to call them. We know no matter what, even with Pat McAfee obviously coming aboard to their show last fall, they do like to put their own spin on things. And so I wonder if, like McAfee's show, does ESPN give Barkley, Ernie, Shaq, Kenny full carte blanche and let them be inside the NBA? Or is it going to be sort of a diluted inside the NBA with ESPN getting their fingerprints over it? Because I think the one thing that people like about Inside the NBA as opposed to NBA Countdown, not only is NBA Countdown right now basically reusing your Stephen A. Smiths, your Michael Wilbons, your Bob Myers, and there's nothing wrong with Wilbon and PTI. Stephen A. Smith is not my cup of tea, but he's obviously a lot of people's cup of tea. There's nothing wrong with those individuals. It's just that, they're being used all over ESPN programming. And it's sort of redundant when Stephen A's on First Take every day, Wilbon's on PTI every day, then they go do NBA Countdown. And, the show doesn't even have a ton of analysis anymore. It's maybe one clip of highlights during the halftime of the NBA Finals and then, commercials. I mean, the halftime of the Mavericks Celtics show was heavily scrutinized last year. NBA Countdown has been heavily scrutinized, and compare it to the Inside the NBA, it's not even close. So, is that sort of ESPN's way now that they're going to cut back on regular season games? Obviously, with this new deal, they're going to have more postseason games, though. They still have exclusivity to the NBA Finals. Is that going to be ESPN's way to sort of get and amplify their countdown show? The other thing is, I mentioned Stephen A. Smith. He has been the face of NBA programming since he's been at that network since about 2012. What will he be doing when it comes to this show? Will he have a lot of guest appearances? Obviously, the team has saw Draymond Green come in there and do some guest appearances, as I think Draymond in a few more seasons will be fully involved in inside the NBA. You know, Charles Barkley said he's only got a couple more years left, and then he's gonna hang it up. And according to him, go kill Skip Bayless. It's another topic that's not here nor there, but I do find it interesting that that is the case. You know, what's it going to mean for Stephen A. Smith? Again, is he going to be involved? You know, again, he's been the fixture of NBA coverage for years, or will he sort of take a back seat to the NBA coverage and focus more on first take, which I would, to be honest with you, prefer the latter. Again, I when I do watch Inside the NBA, it's just such a good show filled with chemistry, analysis, jokes, realism. And the one thing about Barkley that nobody, even Stephen A. Smith, in my opinion, on ESPN will do is call it out like it is. Shaq as well. They made a lot of critical comments, obviously, on big man Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers lately. But, you know, a lot of NBA fans are obviously happy about this show. They're happy it's coming back. And to this point right now, I can't tell you if a lot's going to change or not. I hope it doesn't, though. Again, it's the four-letter network. I think they could have their fingerprints on it. But I am sort of wondering here what's going to happen as we get further down the road. As you know, Amazon sort of makes their play for guys. NBC has already brought in Jalen Rose. And I'm sure they're going to bring in among other people there for that NBC package. So when you have a legitimate package with NBC, with Amazon Prime, again, ESPN took a big swing with McAfee. I think sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think this is their big swing here to save their NBA coverage because their NBA coverage has gone down significantly, even ever since Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson left the booth. You know, Mike Breen is great. Doris Berg is a decent analysis. I thought JJ Redick did a good job when he was on there. I would prefer to see Richard Jefferson take that seat. But now that NBA, you know, NBC, Amazon Prime are going to take some over commentary jobs, potentially maybe, you know, Jeff Van Gundy, Mark Jackson get back into that space with another network. Is this sort of the start of ESPN reinvigorating their NBA coverage, which I have said from the start is exactly what the four-letter network needs? Like that clip from the Brands World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brands World podcast right here on YouTube.